time and space. I would like to ask the ancient ones, the ancestors, the Patnatarus, um, the Rishas, back to the ancestors again, to the gods known and unknown, Ashe and Dua, and it goes as follows. Hetepu, Duau, Nazarak, Ramech, Imhotep. Greetings, divine greatness, divine excellencies to the first family. Managa, Shemsa Nesubitis, Hamets, Sibas, Mutas, the immortal ones of my art chairs. Phenomenon, possession, New Age order, Great Golden Age, and my PSR. And to all the citizens and descendants in the Nile Valley cultural collective consciousness spirituality. Nazarak, or us, Nataru, Panebu, the mother of Netarus, the mistress of Pet, the maker of mankind. She who is mighty in Usa Medinafe Hakau, divine words of power, mother of all initiations. Bless us humble service for Ankh, life being not present, as we seek the counsel of the ancient ones and practice daily the ancient Matian ways and ancient Matian truths. We strive evermore to become one with thee in this world and existence to come. We ask that you bless us on this, the 170th day of the year after the Enoch rising, 190 days remaining to Uban Subtis Cyrus rising, Ubawat Samatawi, Ret Rempet Dejahe, New Year's celebration, the 26th day of the 5th month of Het Haru, the 3rd day of Quesano, the 30th day of the 2nd month of the 2nd season of Aket, year number 10, AFK. So SST after founding a new Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samatawi, phenomenon of possession, New Age, order, Great Golden Age, of my PSR. We ask that you bless our families, our friends, and all those who gather together to worship in the glorious ancient Tamarian name of As Ermu, Patnataru, Panebu. For in the art of seeking you, there is much comfort. So let it be spoken, let it be written, let it be done, so shall it be for now and forever. For Ra Nebateshara, Panata, Pupamaat, Was the J, Uja Senev, Ube Nefike, Panebu, Maati. Rising always in divine excellence with my heart every day, all day. Dua, Siwa. I appreciate that.
All right. All right. Appreciate you, family. Once again, this is Conscious or Crazy in a sense of knowing what's right and what's wrong versus a mentally unsound mind. Am I conscious or am I crazy? Hey, you know what I'm saying? We got the family once again with me. Once again, introduce yourself for the people. I know we had a powerful conversation last time, and definitely, I know the people love you, and they definitely want to hear your food for thought and your information. So, go on and introduce yourself for the people.
I'm Ramutef Queb. I'm Ramutef Queb. I'm the global distributor of the Masarian Solar Civil Lunar Calendar. I'm also the master astrologer for the Netharu Star Time. I am also under the Temple of Teshapara, one of the royal scribes and keeper of Tep Time. I'm also the one of the teachers of our institute called the Naga Institute and its associations, or the Naga Association and its institutes. I'm also, you can find me on Facebook as Ramutef Queb. You can find me on Instagram as Ramutef_Queb. You can also find me on plethora of platforms, including the platform I'm on right now, on Conscious of Crazy. I definitely appreciate this opportunity with you, brother. And definitely all the listening audience. Just give me a second. I apologize. I'm over here trying to get through this traffic.
Fine, brother.
And definitely want to give thanks to the ancestors for allowing this moment in our present time and space. And we can go ahead and begin as well.
All right, man. So, hey, man, let's go and get to it, man. The true New Year. When did you get exposed? I know we talked about it a little bit, but when did you get exposed to the information on us being lied to about the true calendar? And and what is our true year? And actually, what is actually today's mathematics for the people once again?
So my story begins when I had a conversation with my mother, and it all started off with speaking about the Moors, and then going into the Israelites, then going into the Cometians, and the Aboriginals, the Indigenous, so on and so forth. Then it come to a place of time where it's like I started going back into studying the stars. From studying the stars, I ended up getting linked up with my Siba under the Tesha for Ra. It was the Holy House of Ra. The Siba's name is Patasika Sa. as I was learning and watched a couple of videos about the calendar myself, and I started studying it, and I started noticing the just the completion of time within our calendar. When I say our calendar, I mean everyone's calendar. Whether if you know of it or not, it is your calendar for it's definitely connected to the cosmos moving forward. So when I seen that there was 9 days in a week, I was just like, that's pretty interesting. From
Mm-hmm.
doing that 9 days in a week, I ended up finding out that it was under a sidereal, lunar, and solar calendar. The mother equation is 8,766 hours, and that is what you would call a sidereal year. Within that sidereal year, you can divide anything within under it in the divisions of nine, or just any divisions from 1 through 9. As I was looking at the calendar, I let people always know when you come in, when we speak on it. I tell people, have you noticed the numerology sequence within the calendar? If you go to the first month, which is the month of Tahuti, on the first day of Ra, on the first day of the first season, first month of first season of Shimu, on our Ibetaru Shabitum Taru Pamaat, which is the solar sidereal lunar calendar. When you look at it from the first day, you'll see that it's on the Gregorian side is July 25th. A lot of people are not aware that the celestial New Year, or which you will literally call a New Year, is on July 25th on the Gregorian calendar when you track the stars from the pyramids of Giza. When it's on that day, it is what is called a helical horizon. A helical horizon is when a star and just any star makes its debut on a horizon. On this particular day, you have the binary dance of Cyrus and Ra. And Ra is the sun, Cyrus is something just to be fast about it in a sense. So when Cyrus rises on the July 25th, it rises with the sun. On that day is what we call the Renpet. The Renpet is equivalent to what we say New Year. Ren means name, Pet means sky, and Medu Nature. When you say Ren, it's and Pet, you're saying name in the sky. Why would you want to name the sky? So then, one thing that I learned out of my temple is that when you reverse it, you have Ner and Tep. Ner means energy, Tep means time. So when you look into certain words, like for instance, the word time, if you turn that word backwards, you get emit, and when you get emit, you're dealing with energy, so on and so forth. So as you're dealing with time, and as you're dealing with not just knowing our calendar and understanding the term of ner and tep, which is energy and time. When you say time itself, you say emit backwards in its energy, just putting back and forth, just having everything correlate, the duality or the totality of it. From there, I started looking real deeper and deeper and deeper, and it gets to the point where now, when it comes to the astrology part, when it comes into the astrology, I understand that the way that I do astrology is like a true sidereal. The only difference between myself and a true sidereal is that I have the star Suptit or Cyrus. That's the only difference. Other than that, it's still the same. When it comes to the Westerns and Vedic and things of that nature, that's their own system. Understanding that from my continuing research, knowing that when dealing with this Western, you're definitely dealing with the moon and only the moon. Because any calendar or anything that has 30 days in it is a lunar cycle calendar. To
Exactly.
place ourselves under that is, making yourself a lunatic.
Lunatic. Hey. Yeah, y'all crazy, but I'm just conscious. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, I'm insane, but I'm not crazy. I'm insane. There's a
yeah,
difference.
exactly. It's definitely a difference. Yeah, you mentioned the 25th, you said, of July is the new year, as I got my calendar with me. And anyone interested in the calendar, we definitely give you the information where to get the calendar as well. So yeah. And then can you go down the name of the months of you mentioned July. What is our true July?
All right, so if you you know, go on a couple platforms, want to give a couple shout outs to Crumb Snatcher on Crumb TV, Joy
Salute.
Allen on Memoirs of the Karmic Dynasty,
Yes,
yourself,
indeed.
Conscious Ed on Conscious Crazy. On these particular platforms, you will notice that when you see ourselves coming in on the Precious Treasure, things of that nature, or under our own banner of the Naga Institute or Naga Association or the Naga Media, we let people know from the beginning is that before the Romans and the Greeks, there were 9 days in every week,
Every
and
week.
time was count by charting stars that were visible on our calendar, aware of the movement of the stars, Earth, and Moon. These indigenous African Naga, Shimsarus, Nesabitis, Hamets, Sibas, Mulatats were cosmically attuned. So when dealing with July and August, going down, his storyline, you understand that doing your research that you'll find out that August and July are two historical figures who go by the name of Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar.
Yep.
So understanding that, we understand that they added 2 months to the calendar to keep it cordial with the lunar part of the calendar. Because when you look at it, the calendar itself, going from January down to December, we always let people know, like if you know Latin and Greek, because that's the language that we speak, you understand that Dice means 10. Why is 10 is our 12th month, so on and so forth. So in July, what we know as in Kemet, we look through, a lot of different doctrines in the sense under the Naga doctrines, the Kemetic doctrines, and so on and so forth. From there, you're understanding that the first month has always been Tahuti. Tahuti has always been the first month for my own, research.
Tahuti.
So going by the calendar, we go from the first month, which is Tahuti, and then also just to give a breakdown before I go into it. Understand that under Impetu Haru Pama'at, 36 days in a month, 10 months in a year, or how you say, 4 weeks in a month, 36 days in every month, 10 months in a year.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that I'm about to name off is the 10 months, starting with the first month, what is Jehuti. The second month we on the calendar is Renunet or Renanut. The third month is Sobek.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth month is Men. The fifth month is actually Apet. I just want to make sure that y'all heard it first that we're did a recalculation on when it comes to the month wise, and Apet is actually this month. But for the sake of the conversation, I'm going to keep it original to what we have on the calendar, which is Het Haru. From Het Haru, then you go to Haru, then not Haru, Apet, then uh, Haru, then Haru, then Haru Kuti, Segmet, and Patah. Those are the 10 months that we have on our Ebeturush, Abeturush, Each month has a significance with the type of nature that is on that month, as well as the 9 days in the weeks, starting with the first day, which we know as Ra. The second day is Tahuti, the third day is Seb, the fourth day is As, fifth is Amesta, Happy, Twamitef, Quesano, and then the last day being Haru. The one thing when I correlate to that is that you have to gravitate yourself to the moment in time and space. And when you look, you always see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the sun is Sunday, and when you say Sunday, obviously it's Sunday. So that's dealing with the sun itself. So Sunday is Ra's day under the name that we're giving it. Then you have Moon, which is the Moon Day. So we already know correlate to the moon is Tahuti.
Yeah.
Then when you look in the sky, you see the sun and the moon. When you come back, where are you at? You're on the earth. So the next day is Seb. Seb is Earth, the Earth Day. Then you look to your left, you look to the right, and what do you see? You see Mother Nature. So we put Os in the next for the next day. Then you also have to correlate or orientate yourself to 4 cardinal points. Those cardinal points are Amesta, which is born of the earth, south. I mean, yeah, south. You have Hapi, which is the north. You have Tuamutep, which is the east. And you have Klepsano, who is the west. When you go to the elements, the 4 cardinal points, the 4 pillars of Pet, Pet means sky. You have earth, water, fire, wind. Then you have Haru, which is the last day, who is the son of As, so on and so forth. You know the story of the Sarian drama, so on and so forth. But when it comes to the energy wise, that I label it as is the day of ether. And then you go back into the cycle until you go back into that 360-day cycle.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. You know, we talked about it. You exposed to me that my true born day was
Mm-hmm.
was of course in men, and it's on the 11th or the 140th day. Correct.
You said men and,
Yeah,
men
men.
in the month of men.
Yeah, which is December for the people, but men is the true the true month.
Right now, yeah. I got you. Yeah. So what it is with that part is that I'm gonna explain it to you as well. So the information that I've given you, right?
Hmm.
That day, that particular day that I've given you, what is the 100 and what? We said 141st,
Yeah, 40 day.
40th day. So that number specifically is the number that is how you say with the calendar orientated to you, meaning that whatever the helic horizon is in the area that you were born in, you count from that day, and from that day 140 days, and it's going to land right on the Gregorian birthday that you know of.
Hmm.
Then if you don't want to do that, then I just tell people just go by the calendar itself, and it's still going to add up regardless of how you do it. But the best way that I want people to understand it is understanding that from that formula, you have built yourself your own calendar of your own time, basically making yourself a part of the cosmos. From that, you understand how you operate by your birth chart, um, by the basis of your birth chart, and understanding that that is the solely, energetic formula to make, say, for instance, yourself conscious set, or like myself, Ramutef Quell. From there, by learning and understanding those aspects of time when dealing with the planetary bodies and with constellations within the celestial firmament, you can basically read yourself on a daily basis by knowing what planet is where, what planet on your natal chart is it going to affect, because it's easy by finding out what is your what constellation it is. Always remember what constellation that sets you up for your housing system. From there, when you look into that, you'll start to see, like for instance, let's jump just ahead when it comes to the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter.
Yeah.
From that great conjunction, depending on where Capricorn was on your housing system, that is the area of effect that it is. But it also takes effect of your rising sign. A lot of people don't know when dealing with your rising sign, you're dealing with, the atomic zodiac self, if that's the best way I could put it, or the mask that you hide under. So I explain to people within the way that I teach, in a sense, is that knowing that that rising sign is your body, your outer body, where how everybody perceives you. Each person has a different type of uh, body sign, as well as most people just go by their sun signs and then correlate certain other aspects, but not knowing that your body sign is who you are in in the hindsight, but all the other aspects like your sun and your moon and all everything else definitely plays a role within the connection of the energies that dwell within you. From there, like for myself, for instance, I have Taurus rising. So with me having Taurus rising, that means I have the, how you say, the body of the Taurus. When it comes to, let's say hypothetically for you, you have the body Leo rising or whatever. What did I give you for your first house? That's what I should ask.
Um, and then for the people, the day, the true day,
Mm-hmm.
today's true day is the 170th day in hot Peru. Let me see.
Well, no, I was asking like for your chart wise, but
Oh yeah.
when
I
it
was,
comes to like the time wise, we're definitely what you would call like, say for instance, we all know that we have over here in the northern southern hemisphere, in a sense, we have 4 seasons. Within those 4 seasons, you have summer, spring, fall, winter. So right now in the Cometics, they have 3 seasons. Over there, anybody who's close to the center of Earth, in a sense, has 3 seasons. They have what they call Shimu, Akhet, and Pert. Shimu is basically the inundation and the receding. Akhet is basically the season of growth, and then parts of it, harvesting in a sense, because you're harvesting as you're growing. And then
mhm.
Pert itself is just basically to harvest and store, and then you start the cycle all over again. Anything that's dealing with a lunar cycle calendar is how they say, an agricultural calendar. An agricultural calendar is only meant to feed you, and then for today's society, our agriculture calendar is only to keep you broke,
Mhm.
as well as to feed you in certain aspects, but at the same time, with the type of food that they give us on a daily basis and the type of entertainment and things of that nature, those type of frequencies coming emitting from those towers have a lot of effect on us on on a physical level or
Oh,
atomic level.
definitely, definitely. I advise people to, definitely get the crystals, to decrease the radiation or avoid all the radiation that these devices and etc. Produce, for sure. And yeah, yeah. So my sign is Nat for Sagittarius.
Oh, neat.
Neat for Sagittarius. And yes, and see, we got Jupiter. Once again, we got Jupiter and we got Saturn in my hot and Aquarius, and also
Mm-hmm.
Venus or Capricorn for the people as well. And
Mm-hmm.
we
So
also
you had those in there. You had those in your in that constellation. You had Venus in that constellation, right?
yes.
All right. So in a sense, going back, not to cut you off, going into like the conjunction, right? So whatever house that system was under, it's affecting that Venus part of yourself, that
Mm,
Venus, your heart, in a sense, is affecting the areas of your heart, depending on what housing system it is definitely where it's going to affect, and it has a double cross. And then among some people, they use certain type of methods when it comes to dealing with that. They'll tell you like, oh, it's an Aquarius when it's dealing with the tropical, you know what I mean? But when
hmm
you're looking at it from an astronomical point of view, it's going to show you that it's actually in Capricorn, or what we know as Amu. Amu is, and Meta Nature is the name of the deity that weighs by the scales of the weighing scales of Ma'at. And if your heart is not light as a feather, then Amu eats your heart.
mm,
So it's like, just giving yourself patience and balance. And then if things go wrong or south, you know what I mean? It's a devourer in a sense, or you're going to devour your target because you can't have nothing to, you know what I mean, interfere with your interfere with what you're doing. And then since your heart is there, that's like a very big significance in my understanding. So
hmm
depending on what house system it is, we could definitely talk about what that conjunction does. Because, for hindsight, for most people who were not astrologers or are astrologers in the sense, we all know the words for that particular planet and the type of glyphs that it gives off. So I'll start with the glyphs. So when we're dealing with Saturn, you're dealing with the like a cross and a sickle. So from my understanding, anytime I see that symbol according to their Western symbols or the glyphs, I see it as matter over death. When you
hmm
look at Jupiter, it's like the flip sign of it. So it's saying correlation. You have a sickle with a cross. So in that instinct, is saying that it's death over matter. So we have both death over matter and matter over death combining into one.
mm,
So when it comes to the symbology of certain planets coming from a basic level, you're dealing with Jupiter that's dealing with the things that expand or the things that you're able to give like great abundance to within a person, within yourself and within your reality in a sense, or to others. Saturn is the things that restrict you or limitate you, and also the things that can rebuild you and definitely bring certain aspects of death and rebirth to you to oneself.
mm,
When it being in this particular constellation, a lot of people kind of correlate it with Satan or what's that called death in a sense, things
mm,
of that nature. Understanding that that is a very very bold way of thinking. So when it comes to the like a rapture in a sense, these two particular energies are having a field day with the physical. And then on top of that, when you understand like the whole years wherever in life, Saturn comes on and checks on the head.
mm. Can you repeat that for the people?
But I lose there. I lose. All right. What's the last part? You 30 every 30 years, Saturn makes like a depending on when you're born. Saturn makes a return every 30 years with a person's life. So say for instance, if you have whatever you're doing of that nature, when Saturn makes that 30-year mark, it's basically like Big Daddy just coming to check on you and be like, all right, let's see what you did. And if you ain't did nothing with your life, Saturn's going to either help you get to a certain point or it's going to make it worse for you. That's
Mm,
like, the whole pantheon with the Saturn return type thing. And
man.
then when it comes to Jupiter, I'm still studying Jupiter one. But when it comes to all the other aspects of the planetary bodies, things of that nature, even though we're in the topic of astrology within the time, and that's my how you say my business, and that's how the best way I can communicate when dealing with certain parts of aspects of time and dealing with the phenomenon procession and so on and so forth. So dealing with that particular conjunction, it definitely brought about a new type of era within our being, if that makes sense.
Mm. And also
Meaning that
my
there's a lot of change.
yeah, also my moon, the in Pluto moon, and that's the 13th sign. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then ascending is a Virgo, and you mentioned mid, look like you said mid,
Midhaven, Midhaven. All right,
mid haven.
so for instance, so yeah, back to that topic. So your ascendant sign is your the body that you dwell in, like the
Mm,
physical body. And then like on the chart, one thing that I learned is that whatever your ascendant sign, that planet that rules it is the planet that honestly rules your chart in a sense. All parts rule you, but that particular entity or body or celestial body definitely rules you in a sense. So with you having the body of what we call Asa Virgo,
mm-hmm.
meaning that the planet that rules you is Mercury. So you have the mind type of thing. So anything dealing with wisdom is something that definitely correlates to.
Definitely. And descending is Set, which is Pisces.
Yeah, when it's set. So you have that opposite, that whole opposite thing going on. So that's how you were able to like see a chart on a basic level, because that information I gave you is like literally on a basic level. So just going into it and understanding the different ways of reading, in a sense, it definitely brings about a lot of different aspects, or bring about or reveal a lot of aspects within not just yourself, but within your reality and then those around you as well. So with you having that, so that means Mercury, wherever Mercury is, or whatever house it is under, that has a very big ordeal with yourself. And then when it comes to the addition of, the let's just say that day itself, which was on the 150th day of the year. So on the 150th day of the year is the day that Saturn and Jupiter had that great conjunction. Mind you, a lot of people don't really recognize that Mercury and the Sun has been going conjunct multiple times in every sign so far in the zodiac, from Cancer all the way to where we're at now in Sagittarius.
Mm,
So you had that going on. So in hindsight, people don't. Well, I tell people, I have a weird sense of humor, but when it comes to like upgrades and powers and things of that nature, Mercury and the Sun's been giving everybody their power, but they're just not even realizing it because you're
oh
not
yeah,
awakening your mind,
yeah, yeah.
because
People
you're
in
dealing with the representation of the sun. From my understanding, from the way I teach, the sun is representation of your soul. Mercury is the representation of your mind. So you
yeah,
have your mind and your soul basically giving off that conjunction energy, working as one, coming into you. Especially if you looked at the sun during those times, and then with it being under the constellation that you're in, it's like an awakening. So a lot of people have been wondering, like, why is people waking up? Why is this at a rapid rate? The reason why they're waking up is the energy frequency from Mercury and the
Mercury.
Sun have been has been bursting on us, and a
Yeah,
lot of people
Saturn,
have been
Sun.
upgrading in the mind and upgrading in certain aspects of their life when it comes to different ways of thinking, or upgrading their thinking, or actually getting out of their, as I quote from Professor Kaba, out of your cotton picking mind.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, man, Sun is soul, and that's why strictly our people should eat soul food, literally meaning sun food, literally meaning any food that's blessed with the sun and touched by the sun, plants and etc. But yeah, yeah. So what's the benefits of you already talked about it, but what was the benefits for our people, as you mentioned Mercury? That's powerful information people need to know about. People was waiting on the 21st for their upgrade, but like you mentioned, Mercury always coming through for us. We
Yeah.
don't realize that. But what is the true benefit of Jupiter and Saturn, aligning? And also what's the true benefit for, even, reclaiming our true calendar?
So also main benefit I can honestly say is that when it comes to the revolution of the mind or the liberation of the mind, just having that calendar puts you on the course of how you say your your, your true purpose in a sense.
There you
That's the
go.
way that things are done because it's like you've been disconnected and been on a lunar cycle for a majority of our lives. For the past, you can even say for the past 4,000 years, we've been under a lunar cycle calendar. I mean, and then under no disrespect to the Kemetic calendar because the Kemetic calendar is also correct, but it's also under a lunar cycle calendar, meaning it's under an agricultural calendar. They go by the months, and the months that they go by is also the months of the seasons, in a sense. So I mean, there's nothing knocking it, but you're still limited. You're limited, giving yourself limitations of the moon, and not actually embracing all that is within you. Because if you're just governing by the moon, then why are you talking about the stars? Because obviously the stars are supposed to be the main topic, right?
Exactly.
Not just the moon. If you're just going off the moon, then don't use the stars.
Mm.
You just go
Yeah,
off the phases of the moon. The phases of the moon will basically help you as well. But if you're going to use those constellations, then it's like a double Jeopardy type thing, in a sense, like the daily double type thing, where it's like if you get the question wrong, it takes all your money in a sense, depending on how much you bet. You know what I mean?
yeah, daily double, man.
So like the significance of the calendar is actually to connect or rock connect a person back into the flow of the cosmos. A lot of people are not aware of the star Septon. A lot of people are not aware of the northern polar stars. A lot of people are not even aware of the 36 deacons that govern within the 10-day lapse. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So understanding those aspects of time, of what people will call time, we all know there is no time. Time is the
Exactly.
movement or the measurement of the light. So if there is no light, there is no time. So the way that we have been living, things of that nature, is going off the light, which is giving us, how you say, a way to keep us surviving within this world that we're still learning and exploring and and evolving with. And then not just there, but then into the realms of the universe, which when people talk about dimensions, to me, when you say dimensions, you're to me scientifically, you're telling me about a galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
another
Yeah,
type of galaxy that you travel or astral travel to and got certain type of knowledge and brought it back. And people are not aware that the universe is ever expanding, all because of the concept of what is called gravity. And then to explain gravity, gravity is a result of antimatter collapsing upon itself, producing gamma explosions. So what I'm speaking on is a cosmic interpretation of gravity, not the gravity that we are bound by under this realm. I'm talking about gravity in whole and all in its existence
exactly.
that
Yeah,
produce gamma explosions, releasing nuclear energy going inwards and outwards. The energy that is going inwards will always be absorbed by the self-created one, which we know as Ra never touch Ra. And then the energy that's releasing outwards in the pure was in pure matter and antimatter through the brace of interference will start to develop what we call as the nursery of the stars, or what you would call pushing energy or creating energy from nothingness into or how you say from the darkness into light. That
exactly.
energy becomes how you say what we know as the nursery of the stars, and where we see these galaxies and planets and moons and life forms, things of that nature. But those galaxies that we know of, or what you call in science dark body radiations or black holes in a sense, which is a galaxy, they produce the atomic energy. So everything that comes out, so in a sense, it's like when a star explodes, it becomes a black hole, or it implodes and becomes an implode star, things of that nature. But they consume atomic as well as release atomic. So coming from like that whole, sacrifice, things of that nature, you can find that within the cosmos actually on a daily basis if you know where to look at. You know what I mean? And then
Exactly.
as you're exploring through space, things of that nature, you start to see all the mirror galaxies like our own, and then you start to ponder on the fact that oh shit, we're definitely not alone because if we're here on this galaxy within this type of atmosphere, and then there's mirrored galaxies around millions of mirrored galaxies out there. that lets you know for a fact, like, yeah, we're definitely not alone out this mud. But it all depends on how we can, transfer ourselves within those particular realms, because every realm or governs by the same law, but within the same. But what the difference is that within that realm, the rules are just a little different. So, like for instance, our gravity down here keeps us, say for instance, bound to this Earth. So, if we were to go to another galaxy, the gravity there doesn't bound us to the Earth. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But the same rules apply from breathing, drinking, swimming, things of that nature. All the same things apply.
Yeah, yeah. The problem is, as you mentioned, yeah, we got disconnected and I'm saying we lost the charger. You know what I'm saying? We can't and well we lost the the Wi-Fi. We don't have the Wi-Fi password no more. And we need to find it. And yeah, we fell in yeah, it's all about the rims and people understanding how the rims work, how many rims are there. Yeah,
Eons and eons of them, because how you say, from my understanding, from if you go to any of those networks that I explained to, and then hopefully I can introduce my Siba Fatah as well on your platform, and he'll definitely go into detail way further than I can, because I'm still a Siba. By the same time, the word in Metanacha Siba means student as well as teacher. You know what I mean? So it's
definitely.
not, I'm always learning, and I'm at the same time I'm teaching at the same time.
Same here, same here. Yeah, you said yeah, definitely welcome you know, him onto the platform as well. Definitely, definitely. Um and
I forgot the last question. I mean, not the last question, but the questions you asked after that when it comes to the correlation of the significance of, rock connecting yourself to the calendar. What was the next part you said?
um I guess the true benefits of knowing our calendar, instead of the illusion of the calendar that they provided for us.
Yeah, so the main thing is that going by the Gregorian calendar or just anybody else's calendar for that matter, you will literally see that it's always orientated to the moon, no matter what pantheon cosmology you go to when it comes to living by a certain system, whether it's religious or not. Each one of their systems is based off the moon. If you don't believe me in a sense, just look at the system. Like let's take astrology for example, the tropical astrology. They give you 12 signs, 30 days in each sign, right? Within the moon, you have the moon phases of between 28 to 29 to 30 to so on and so forth, depending on the aphelion, the apogee and the perigee. So when dealing with those type of structures and understanding those parts of the time keeping system, or a way of keeping up with a system that helps you formulate or build a society or a nation, things of that nature. We ourselves are cosmic beings. So if we're just keeping ourselves on the moon, we're limiting ourselves. When there's a solar aspect and there's a sidereal aspect. Sidereal is dealing with the stars. Solar is dealing with the sun. I mean the sun. Solar is dealing with the sun. Sidereal or sidereal is dealing with the stars. And then you have the lunar aspect. So that's three aspects of who we are. And if you see all type of depictions of the father is the sun, the mother is the moon, the child is the star. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
man.
it just upgrades and upgrades and upgrades within a cycle on a not a perpetual, almost in a perpetual cycle, but not so much, because in that cycle we're on a continuous evolution versus perpetual continuous. A lot of people that stick to that lunar cycle is under a perpetual continuous type of lifestyle, meaning every time you wake up, it's the same thing in the same order, the same way that you brush your teeth and all the other things. Like I'll take the quote from the Matrix. When you wake up, when you the energy is like he says like something like the Matrix is all around you. When you go to
Exactly.
work, when you go to sleep, when you eat, when you pay your taxes. You know what I mean? When you go vote. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it's like that same, um, methodology when you look at it when dealing with a lunar cycle calendar. Then it's like you take the red pill, and you know what I mean. The story, the you stay in Wonderland type thing, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
when you stay within outside of that, you're going to start to see the difference within the sky, the difference within the earth, the difference within nature, because each part of these beings, or how you say ancestors in a sense, they move with the cosmos. They
Mm.
work with the cosmos. A lot of people don't know that you can even grow plants according on what type of planet is in the sky. You know, certain planets literally correlate to plants, to animals, to ourselves, for that matter. So if that's the case, then why not evolve past the moon and but still work with the moon? Because the moon itself is dealing with your emotions.
Yep.
Depending on where your moon is placed at in your chart, in a sense, your emotions are very vital to your understanding, depending on where your mind and your heart and your actions are at. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
when you start to go deeper into understanding just our realm itself, you're understanding that certain parts of the day are very powerful than most.
Oh,
And
definitely.
when I say certain parts, we'll just say, for instance, the rising of the sun. In a certain area of the sun, I learned this from my teacher. His name is Ike Rodriguez. I learned this thing that they call the Mars effect, where they study Mars and this type of vibrations that Mars gives when it goes into its cycle around us. Certain parts of it are within the days or the hours of the day, in a sense, rather it be the hours of the night or the hour of the light. It gives off a certain high frequency, and then if you look on your chart, you'll see that within that particular area, you're very dominant in that area, rather what sign it is, or it doesn't matter. Usually, whatever your rising sign is, you're very dominant in that area. And if you got planets in there in that same sector, depending on if it's within, your what they call the 12th house of spirituality, or your
Mhm.
10th house of the things that your I would place it as career, the type of things that you're into when it comes to, what you want to be in life. And then, certain areas of the way that you explore and the way that you collect your money, and then in other areas of how you express to other people. In these certain areas, certain frequencies of Mars, you can correlate it with different planets, because the planets do that same thing. And then you start to see the tetragrammatron and things of that nature, the Merkaba or
Mhm.
the Tatsara within your, not even just in your chart, but just within your being.